Okay, so that's with the kick. The next instrument we are going to be adding to it is our snare. Let's play the snare. I think this should be the snare. Let's play together. Let's listen. The snare, I'm going to insert the snare into another channel on the mixer. Now, the first thing I want to do is the snare should have its attack, but I don't want it to be as loud as the kick. And because of the nature of the song is pretty solemn. I don't want the snare to have too much sharp attack on the song. Okay, so let's listen, and then I'm going to reduce the volume of the snare. Okay, so one other thing you need to pay attention to if you are mixing, especially if you are working with FL, always check your master track if there are no compressors or limiters already acting on your project. Right now, I can see that a limiter is acting, which is limiting the snare. I could hear that the attack of the snare had some form of compression acting on it. So it's always nice to take it off. And always remember, you don't necessarily have to mix your song to be loud. Getting your song to sound loud is during the stage of mastering. So what you're working towards here is getting a clean and crisp mix, not necessarily having your mix to sound loud. So I'm going to remove the limiter here. Just select none, and you'll notice probably a drop in the volume level. All right, there's a drop in volume level, and it is actually cleaner than what I had before. Okay, so you are always pay attention. You don't have to mix your drums loud, but just make sure that your sounds are clean enough. Okay, so now let's try to take off some of the bright end of the snare. I don't want the snare to have a sharp attack. I want it to sound a bit damp. So I'm going to be using my EQ, and then bright sounds and mid-frequency sounds are ideal to help you replicate environments well. So I'm also going to be adding my reverb to the snare to help me interpret the environment that the drummer is playing in. Don't add your reverb to your kick or your bass drum, except you want to create some form of garage type feel drum kick. Reverb and low frequency sounds do not really go too well. So I would advise you don't use your reverbs on your kicks or on your bass drum or even your bass instrument, except you are trying to achieve a certain type of mix to your song. So let's add my EQ to the snare, and let's add the reverb too. Okay, a reverb. So I'm going to mute the reverb for now and work on the EQ. So when I get the texture that I want, and then I add the environment that I want to add to it. Okay, so now you will notice that the high frequency region that you hear from the drums has been reduced, giving you a cleaner snare. You know, it is not as noisy as the previous snare that was on it. So let's add the reverb too and see how we are creating an environment. Remember that the environment you used for the sax is also important. We are trying to create an environment that is synchronized with, together. Not that the drum is sounding like it's coming from a room that is small and then the sax is coming from a large room. We want to have one acoustic space, but you don't have to apply the same reverb setting on every instrument because sounds behave differently in the same room. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I remember that we're trying to simulate a hall that is a bit big but not too big. But remember also that the position of the drummer is not as far away from you as the sax is. Even as much as I want the reverb to kick in on the drums, is not going to be as impressive as the sax is when it comes to the reverb. Okay, so I'm going to add the reverb setting, and then I'm going to tweak it to create the feel that I want from the snare. Okay, so what I've created here is I've created a snare that is not too bright, okay, and it's sounding like I'm a bit in front of it, but not, not too far away from it. What I simply did here was I reduced the decay time, I reduced the amount of wet signal that is kicking in back into the signal, I reduced the diffusion of the snare, and then I used my high cut to remove any high frequency sound that might be kicked back into the signal, because reverb has a way of regenerating sounds that are high frequency that will be fed back into your signal as noise. So I used these high cuts to cut out anything below 1.3 kilohertz away from my snare drums to give me this level.